Good morning, you guys. So yesterday we started working on this Z. Well, I guess I should say the past 2 days we started working on this Z, and we have got it pretty much prepped to where we can get the engine pulled out and we can begin to service and reseal everything, upgrade the fuel injectors, get everything running right. We also went ahead and started on our two-tone interior swap, and we threw these black and gray seats in. Starting to look super sweet. Headliners to be determined. We need to, wire wheel all this rust out back here, spray it, clean it up a bit before we throw it back on. Unfortunately, yesterday, well, not really unfortunately, but unfortunately, yesterday we seen someone is having another car show up in Chicago. I don't really like my daily. It's kind of just becoming this hoopty in my eyes. It's like it wants to be nice so bad, but it's just not. It's just not hitting the notes for me. We need some maintenance done. But I'm thinking we have a week until this show. I have this Z. We can also take this drivetrain. We can use it on our Slicktop. Now that we have the wiring harness situation figured out, we know this is a good harness, unlike the one that I put in the Slicktop. So in theory, we should be able to drive it and actually have everything work correctly. So we can actually get some projects moving. If we pull the drivetrain out of this car, that will solidify our Slicktop, so that way when these brakes and injector adapter kit comes in for our convertible, we'll be immediately ready to go down to Eric's and start working on it so we can drive the car down there. So I think for this video, instead of us getting to work and getting the engine pulled and resealed on our white chassis 3333, I think we're going to take this car, we're going to play musical cars, and we're going to replace this white Z. Here in the next couple minutes, I'm going to move like 8 cars around. Not really, but I got to move 4 cars around pretty much 2 times a piece. Let's start making some progress, and let's actually take, even though it looks like crap, let's take something kind of cool up to Prism Mike's show and give us something to work towards. So for any of you who don't know, this is my 92 Slicktop. Paid $1,200 for this thing 10 years ago. It's been my pride and joy. It's like the second Z that I've had. And well, let's just say when I picked this thing up for prom and drove it back 6 hours, sight unseen for $1,200, that's all it took. I have been in love with these cars ever since, and it's been a slippery slope since. So we actually have a couple things that we can upgrade this with from our green car, but we're not getting to that yet. Let's swap everything around and get our musical cars over with. So we ended up pulling a chassis up here, and well, if you can tell, we actually did not pull our DN1 up. So we kind of had a realization once we were moving our cars around that we could do it a little bit easier. And not only that, this is kind of how I wanted my Slicktop to be to begin with. This engine used to be in that car, and I think it deserves to go back. Since I already have to pull the engine out of this car to change the oil pan, because I have a large oil pan for my drift car here, why not just take this drivetrain out that I know that works? I've driven it 15,000 miles probably. I trust completely and fully, and I know that everything's good on it. Why don't we take all of this out and put it in our Slicktop, since it's tried and true? So that way it'll give us a little bit more time to pull all this out, gauge offers, and potentially maybe sell it. We need to begin tearing all of this drivetrain back out of this car. I think we're just going to do a quick little time lapse while we start tearing a bunch of stuff out here. Now we've got pretty much everything off except heater core hoses, power steering. We're actually just pulling our catch can system out here. Before I fully take it off, I actually want to see what's in it. I don't have much, if any, drive time on this. Just a little bit of idle, moving it around the yard the past few times. What do we have? Pretty significant amount, if you ask me. I guess now it's time to get under the car. Time to do some exhaust stuff. Yay. It's been a while since I've been under here. What are we working with? A couple spider webs. We're actually not going to worry about the cat back. It stayed on here the whole time. It's going to stay on here again. There's not much else I can do with that still in valence in the back. Yeah, thankfully these all look 14 mil. We should be able to crack them loose. Yeah, let's hit these first. Wow, that was instant. Rust in the eye, go figure. When the impact won't reach, you gotta improvise. Now we got access to the starter. That'll be next on our list. I guess we can pop off our slave cylinder. Honestly, now I think we're gonna go for the drive shaft. Get the biggest and most difficult thing out the way, other than bolting the trans or unbolting the trans. That's what I'm talking about. One-handed solo drive shaft removal. So we're at the mercy of the shifter and dropping our trans. It's probably been about 2 hours now. We've got the car inside the barn, trans is out, engine's ready to come out. You guys get the gist. Let's just yank this thing out. Some would say it's magic. We got the whole drivetrain out. So far, after looking at it a little bit, I haven't found anything bad. I don't see any leaks. Nothing, wet. You can see clutch is doing its job. It's a little dusty. Valve covers are looking good. Oil pan's looking good. A little cobwebby. This turbo's all the way dry. Nice. Sandwich plate. It's a little sweaty. Half moons are still good. Nice. So far so good. Looks like this engine is ready to go in my Slicktop. Fortunately, I don't think we're going to get to do that tonight, but with everything in here, we should be able to get this prepped and ready so we can actually just drop it in the car tomorrow. It's probably about 7 o'clock right now. I know it doesn't seem like it's very late, but it's Friday. I do want to eat, so it's definitely probably on the menu soon. That'll do it. I honestly totally forgot to mention or show you. Big reason we decided on all this is this oil pan is actually pretty dinged and beat up. Now I don't want to be sliding or doing nothing crazy with that, causing this motor to destroy itself. So pretty much what I've decided is since this motor is tried and true, we'll just use it as is. No beating on it. Perfect for a cruiser. A little bit of power here and there. Nothing drifting racing wise. That's kind of the big reason I don't want to take an oil pan off. I freaking hate that. We're going to try to avoid it if we can here. I think I'm also going to snag this battery harness. It was originally in my Slicktop, so why not put it back in my Slicktop? Now we're also going to go crack all of our wiring harness spots loose because we're actually going to rob this wiring harness. I think tonight I'm going to do some soldering on the harness. Got a couple connectors I'd like to swap over or convert. Because if you look here, you can see how gross and corroded those pins are. So I'm going to directly hardwire that tonight. I got a video on this specifically that has nothing to do but that. So feel free to check that out if that's something you guys are interested in knowing how to do. So it appears we also need our power steering reservoir lines. And we're also going to need to take our fuel lines. So let's just start pulling some stuff out and get it to where we can go grab some dinner for the night. We're almost at that stopping point. All except the wiring harness. That's the only thing that still needs to come out. Fuel lines have been swapped. We actually didn't need this. Turns out we already had one. This just has brand new lines on it. That's sweet. And as I was putting everything over here on my Slicktop, that made me very sad because the wiring harness we put in this thing was so nice, so mint, and it would have really helped for this car show or project car meet, whatever. Let's officially go grab something to eat, and we'll come back, fix our harness, and probably catch back with you guys in the morning. We're really trying to keep the ball rolling here and get this car done. And it's the next morning. Let's get out here and get to work. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pop this wiring harness out because we still need to repair it. We didn't get home till super late last night, and I obviously didn't get to that. Now will this come out as easy as I made it to come out? bet you the plug's getting hung up. Yep. I already yanked all that AC stuff out so I could feed all my stuff through like that. I would like to bring this back in standalone fashion though. Let's do some repairs. We'll be back in a minute. I don't want to bore you guys with this. It's got to be done. And we've just finished up here. Hope you guys think or, you know, appreciate my, not skill, but I at least managed to get heat shrink on every single one of them. I actually did the lineman splice as well, so they actually look pretty good. Thank you guys for the constructive criticism in the comments and helping me to learn to know what to do correctly when I'm not doing things right. You only don't know things until you know them. And well, this is one of them instances. Now, as much as I hate to, we're gonna wrap this thing up with some fresh electric tape, which unfortunately is the cheap stuff. But we're gonna redo the whole thing so we can kind of get rid of all this crustiness and just make it one uniform and nice wrap. So before and after. Bam! Full harness, pretty much rewrapped. Luckily we had just enough. We ran out of one and we're literally on like the last roll over here. This all went pretty well. I still haven't figured out a good system, you know, to like tie these together. Maybe I should tie them together like up into this point. But we actually disconnected or cut back on this harness, or we split it away from these coolant temp sensors here. So we can reroute this line up under the nose panel with all this extra. I actually think we're going boating right now. I haven't been boating in years. I grew up boating every weekend, so thankfully we got at least something major done. Now let's go have some fun and come back and get this car done. So it's the next day. I got pretty beat up yesterday. Not only did I get kind of sunburnt, I actually kind of hurt my shoulder a little bit, so we got to take it easy. We don't want to make things worse. Not to mention it's my better shoulder. So we have a main goal today. Unfortunately, it appears that the weather in my area is not looking good at all, like the next whole week up until this car show. Hopefully we can get away with today. However, it could show up at 3 p.m. for all I know. Not only that, look at the rest of the week. All storms up until Friday that we gotta go. Hopefully this doesn't persist and it actually changes up a bit. So that means our goal is we need to move this car. We just bled all the power steering out, or the power steering fluids, that way we can not kill all our grass and make a mess. Now we need to get this car swapped, get our Slicktop around. As a one-man show, this isn't going to be fun, especially with my bad shoulder. Not only are we not going to run our 6-puck clutch for, you know, like the drift car setup, that'll go towards the other motor when we take it out, or if we even find a different motor, who knows. Sorry, lightings are all awkward right now. But we're actually going to change our downpipes here, both of these. We're going to change from these NA downpipes, and we're actually going to put twin turbo Z1 downpipes on it. Reason being is these downpipes are pretty much the same as that twin turbo engine from the DN1 car. It had wideband bungs welded into it. However, we're actually going to use the full setup that I got with my, oh shoot, I just realized something. I hope they're not 5 bolts. Crap. All right, I guess I gotta go look for these downpipes. If not, then we really do have to take them off of that, even if we're breaking bolts. Dang it, I really wish I thought this through. I goofed up. Well, just let me hold this L. I clearly did not think any of this through. I have one 4-bolt. I got it for like 30 bucks, so I bought it. Kind of a dumb decision because it drives me crazy now, because I always have one that doesn't have another matching. Looks like we got to take them off the other Z. I always have boost creep issues, like where I overboost like crazy. And I'm thinking it's because I'm pushing enough boost that's not sufficient for these downpipes. So I want it to breathe a little bit better. That's why we're going to put the other ones on and use twin turbo test pipes. And so hopefully we can get the turbo noise a little bit more. I feel like the JDM downpipes restrict that. So we just pulled all the boost controller wiring out. Now we're actually taking the clutch master and slave line, whatever, so we can actually just swap this all in before we put all the drivetrain in. Because if not, I mean, it's still doable, but when you have more room, it's always better than, you know, not having room. That should be everything we need. I think we can go ahead and just Start pushing this car back. Well, I'm not the smartest. I let the GoPro just run out there, so now I got like an hour-long clip of me pushing a car and then just nothing. Well, we got the engine up and ready. We actually took the time. We swapped 2 downpipes out. I actually couldn't get the one off the driver's side over here. So luckily, that spare one that I talked about earlier, it came in clutch. I actually used it. Thankfully, it was the opposing side, so we got that sorted. We got our brand new O2 sensor swapped around, and yeah, we pushed the Slicktop up into here, so we at least have it in the barn, ready to drop in. Now, we're onto the clutch. Pretty sure these are probably the same pressure plates, however, the clutch discs are actually different. This is a 6-puck, this is a full face disc. Not bad. Both looking pretty good. Now I actually think flywheel's getting swapped out too. We're gonna switch to the other one that I got just because I know that they were both fresh together. If you're using an impact to do this, make sure you're on there tight or else you'll round this thing off and then you're gonna have a terrible time. Move the flywheel. Hit it with the 69 foot-pounds. Give her a little spray. Make sure we got no grease. Nice and clean. Now for the clutch. Install pressure plate. For the best part, easy peasy. Now we're actually on to the part that I'm gonna say is the not so fun part here. That is changing the wiring harness. Yippee, I'm so excited. So basically, since I still have the AC box down in here, I'm gonna have to remove that for ease of access to pull this wiring harness. If not, that connector's just gonna get jammed behind the firewall. Let's go ahead and just remove our brackets here, and then we'll go to the inside of the car and begin pulling the glove box out. Wowzers, I think I just got stupid lucky. I actually was able to pull this wiring harness out without taking the AC box out. Sick. Now, putting it in is a whole nother story. The engine's pretty much ready to go in now. We wiped down like all the dust off our intake piping and just everything else that we could. Just kind of clean it up a bit. And we're actually going to be switching these lines over to our actual silicone, twin turbo lines. Because we actually installed some hard lines down here. So we're going to run this correct. As you see, we already have an oil cooler set up. So it'll be a lot easier to do instead of routing this in between our intercooler pipes. I actually like the stock setup better than that for that reason, and I'm glad that I finally found out about this. I got a lot to do here. Let's swap our harness out. We actually got our purple power up here. We need to spray and kind of wipe everything down in here because it's looking pretty grimy and gross. I really need to get this motor in tonight at least. That'll open up and clear things up, finishing this out. Hopefully this isn't as bad as it usually is. Definitely shined up a little bit. Still got a bunch of little dirty like nooks and crannies. Need a lot more elbow grease to get all that out. This side's looking much better. So I think now we're totally ready. We got the engine harness fully swapped out. We got it fully routed. I guess we need to do our little ground 10 mil down here first before we go any farther. Then we can finally drop this thing in and potentially wrap up this video. I know I was wanting to get a lot more done this video, but I guess this was a lot to do, in such a short amount of time. So we'll probably focus on getting this in, and next video we'll run all of our gauges so we can kind of finish up on our NATT swap series so we can show how all of that's done, and also potentially the fuel system and how to wire that will be our final part to all this. Keep on trucking. I just realized we still got to change them oil lines. Yippee. Oh, look at that. Tornado warning. As I'm sitting here trying to figure out what oil cooler line goes where. We're on the last step. Just went to go eat dinner. And of course, it says it's not supposed to rain all day. We go leave. and it starts to rain as soon as we leave. What do you expect? My luck. Little hack for looking in tight places. Pull out Snapchat or something and just record a video. See what you can see. And you can also just look at the screen. Pretty sure the shorter one actually goes to our oil tree, and this longer one here is going to go to our oil pan. So let's swap these out, and actually, you know, I guess we can take this oil cooler for spare parts. Oil lines are both hooked up now. Honestly, that was the worst thing that I've had to do yet on this whole video. Every time I put it on, the hose clamp wasn't tight enough. I'd take it off, make an absolute mess of oil. No, that just ruined my night. Now, we're officially to the point. Let's start lifting the motor and placing it in the Slicktop. Finally, it's coming to its final form. Not final, but for quite a while. We're wanting to keep this drivetrain. I've driven it a ton, kind of like what's in my daily. So I trust it. I know it works. Let's see if we can fix our boost creep issue with some new downpipes. Here goes the last hoorah. Send her home. Haha! Now we're totally in. Before we fully rest our engine, let's just drop it down a little bit. And let's put both of our heater core pipes or hoses on. The reason I like to do this is then it shields the engine on the firewall when the engine actually tilts backwards, so that way you can put your transmission on before you tighten your engine mount nuts. And once we have them snugged up, we can fully drop the load of the engine onto the chassis. I'm just going to make sure I get all of my connections up here first and ensure we're not pinching or hitting anything, so that way we can just have everything go as smooth as possible, because let's be honest, that's the last thing to describe this past endeavor. And there she is. She is not coming out anytime soon. Mark my words, this car is going to stay like this at least until next year. I'm tired of switching engines. I'm tired of playing musical cars, musical drivetrains, this and that. I know this works in this car. We're going to make it work. We're going to make the Prism X project car meet, and we're going to have fun. Well, the Z is officially outside. We got our shop back, at least most of it. We do still need to make some shelves with this, get this out of my way. Sick of looking at it. Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna record much on putting this the rest of the way together, like the transmission and all that. We'll just go ahead and take care of that before we start next video, so that way we can just focus next video on wiring some gauges, how to run them, and why you need them, so to speak, why they're recommended on top of that. So sorry for the spotty, crazy all over the place video. Past couple days have been pretty crazy, but we're persevering, we're making it happen. Let's just keep staying busy. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys liked the video. If you did, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe down below so you can stay tuned for more content, and to also bump us up and help us in the algorithm to help the channel grow, and in turn do some cooler, more fun stuff. Thank you guys again, and until next time, peace.